Most cat owners have no idea they're slowly dehydrating their cat every single day. Not because they're being neglectful, not because they don't care, but because they're feeding their cat exactly the way they were told to. And that bag of dry food sitting on your kitchen shelf? There's something about it that scientists have been studying for years, something that most pet food companies have never quite wanted you to understand. What actually happens inside your cat's body when you switch to wet food every day? The answer isn't just about nutrition, it goes deeper than that. And by the time you reach the final insight in this video, you're going to see your cat in a completely different way. Let's start with the thing nobody talks about first. 1. Your cat is living in a state of chronic thirst. Cats are desert animals. Their ancestors evolved in arid environments where they almost never drank standing water. Instead, they got nearly all of their hydration from the prey they ate. A freshly caught mouse is roughly 70% water. Dry kibble is about 10%. A 2002 study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that cats eating dry food consume significantly less total daily water than cats eating wet food, even when fresh water is freely available. The reason is behavioral. Cats simply don't have a strong thirst drive. They evolved to get water through food, not alongside it. What this means practically is that a cat on an exclusively dry diet spends a significant portion of its life mildly underhydrated. Not enough to show dramatic symptoms, but enough to quietly put pressure on one very specific organ. And that's where things get interesting. Because when we talk about what happens to your cat on wet food every day, we have to talk about the organ that scientists say is most affected first. And it's not the one most people guess. 2. Your cat's kidneys are working harder than you think. Chronic kidney disease is the leading cause of death in older domestic cats. That's not a dramatic claim. It's a statistic repeated consistently in feline veterinary literature. A study from the Wynn Feline Foundation found that up to 30 to 40% of cats over the age of 10 show signs of kidney disease. Researchers have spent years debating why the rates are so high. And one thread that keeps appearing in the data is hydration. The kidneys are a filtration system. They need water to flush waste efficiently. When a cat is consistently underhydrated, the kidneys concentrate urine at very high levels to compensate. Over years, that sustained stress contributes to cellular damage in ways that slowly compound. When researchers studied cats switch to high-moisture diets, something measurable shifted. Urine concentration dropped. The kidneys weren't working as hard. Waste passed through more efficiently. One study in the American Journal of Veterinary Research found that cats on wet food produced significantly more dilute urine, which is exactly what a healthy kidney wants to produce. But hydration and kidney health aren't the only things that change. There's something happening in another part of your cat's body that has surprised even experienced vets, something that connects diet to behavior in ways most people have never considered. 3. The invisible chemistry of your cat's bladder. Feline lower urinary tract disease, or FLUTD, is one of the most common reasons cats end up at the vet. Blockages, crystals, inflammation, and the dietary connection is something researchers have spent years documenting. Urinary crystals form when urine becomes overly concentrated, and the pH shifts into ranges where mineral deposits solidify. Struvite crystals, which are among the most common, form in alkaline urine. Dry food tends to push urine pH in exactly that direction. A clinical review in veterinary clinics of North America noted that cats fed wet diets consistently showed urine pH levels more favorable to crystal prevention than cats fed dry diets. The higher moisture content dilutes mineral concentration. The pH stays closer to the range cats evolved with naturally. What this means is that wet food every day isn't just about hydration as a concept. It's actively influencing the chemistry of your cat's urinary environment every single time they eat. Something invisible is shifting inside them, and that shift protects them from one of the most painful conditions a cat can experience. But here's what most people don't connect. Diet doesn't just affect your cat's internal organs. It starts to change how they look, and how they feel, and how they act around you. 4. What wet food does to your cat's weight. Weight and their mind. Dry kibble is calorie-dense and often high in carbohydrates. Cats are obligate carnivores. They have no biological requirement for carbohydrates. Their livers actually produce only a minimal amount of the enzymes needed to metabolize plant-based starches. A landmark study from the Journal of Veterinary Internal Medicine looked at body composition in cats fed high-protein, high-moisture diets versus high-carbohydrate dry diets. The wet food group maintained leaner muscle mass and lower body fat percentages over time. This matters more than aesthetics. Obesity in cats is directly linked to diabetes, joint disease, hepatic lipidosis, and shortened lifespan. And a cat that's metabolically healthier isn't just physically different. Researchers observing cats in these studies noted behavioral changes too. Cats on wet food diets showed more sustained activity levels, more engagement with their environment, more natural hunting behaviors like stalking, pouncing, and playing, less lethargy, less of what many owners interpret as just getting older, which raises a question worth sitting with. Is your cat slowing down because of age or because of what they're eating? If you're enjoying this and you love understanding your cat on a deeper level, hit the like button and subscribe. There are more videos like this one waiting for you, because what we're about to get into next is something that shows up on the outside of your cat, something you can see and feel with your own hands. 5. The skin and coat signal. Most owners miss. Run your hand along your cat's back. What do you feel? A coat that feels dry, brittle, or dull isn't always just a grooming issue. It can be a dietary signal. And when cats are switched to daily wet food, one of the first visible changes owners notice, often within 4 to 6 weeks, is a change in coat quality. The reason is nutritional density. High-quality wet food, particularly those rich in animal proteins, delivers omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in a form that's more bioavailable than many dry food formulations. These fatty acids are essential for maintaining skin barrier function, reducing systemic inflammation, and supporting the sebaceous glands responsible for that healthy coat sheen. A study published in Veterinary Dermatology found significant improvements in coat condition scores and reductions in inflammatory skin markers in cats moved to high-moisture, protein-rich diets. But here's the part that surprised researchers. The inflammation reductions weren't just skin deep. The same anti-inflammatory pathways affecting the skin were showing measurable changes in the gut. And the gut, it turns out, is where the most unexpected change of all begins. 6. Your cat's gut and the brain connection nobody told you about. Scientists have a term for it: the gut-brain axis. In both humans and animals, the gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in the digestive system, communicates directly with the brain through the vagus nerve. The composition of that bacterial community is profoundly shaped by diet. Cats fed high-protein, high-moisture diets show measurable differences in their gut microbiome composition compared to cats on dry food. A 2022 study in PLOS One found that cats on wet diets had higher populations of beneficial bacterial strains associated with lower systemic inflammation and better immune function. What's striking is what researchers observed behaviorally in these cats: lower stress markers, more relaxed resting postures, reduced frequency of stress-related behaviors like overgrooming. The gut wasn't just processing food differently, it was sending different signals to the brain, and those signals were changing how the cat felt. Which brings us to the thing that ties all of this together. The final insight, the one that changes how you interpret every single behavior your cat shows you. 7. What your cat is actually telling you. When your cat curls against you, kneads your lap, or rubs their face along your hand, those aren't random behaviors. Those are expressions of a nervous system at rest, of a body that feels safe, and the science is beginning to show that what a cat eats has a direct line to how often that state of ease occurs. A cat whose kidneys are under pressure, whose bladder is uncomfortable, whose gut microbiome is inflamed, whose blood sugar swings from carbohydrate loads, that cat is managing a quiet, invisible discomfort that most owners will never see. They'll just notice that their cat seems a little distant, a little restless, a little less themselves. Researchers studying quality of life indicators in domestic cats have found that physical comfort driven substantially by what a cat eats is one of the strongest predictors of affiliative behavior toward their owners. Put simply, a cat that feels well connects more. Wet food every day doesn't just change what happens in the body,